7 spine-chilling road trip horror stories. What was revealed along the cursed path to nowhere? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the cracked pavement. Sarah glanced at Mike and grinned, her excitement infectious. The road trip they had fantasized about for years was finally happening. But as they sped down Route 66, a faded sign flickered through the haze, catching their attention. Whitestone Hollow, gateway to the past. Sarah's heart raced at the thought of hidden treasures and quaint towns, but Mike's brow furrowed, a bolt of unease sparking in the pit of his stomach. At first, it felt like a laugh. "Just a quick detour," Mike said, the confidence in his voice sounding more desperate than he intended. Yet, as they drove deeper into the fog that wrapped the road like a suffocating blanket, dread dripped like molasses. Trees loomed like dark sentinels. The air thickened around them, charged with unnameable. Suddenly, the GPS blipped out, leaving them stranded in an abyss of swirling gray. A shiver crawled up Jake's spine. He squeezed Lily's hand, who was peering wide-eyed into the mist. Shadows danced just out of sight, whispering promises of what once was. "Dad, there's something wrong," Jake muttered, his voice a quaking whisper. Then they spotted it, a crumbling sign, "Welcome to Whitestone Hollow," that appeared again and again as if laughing at their predicament. They exchanged nervous glances. "Maybe we should turn back," Sarah suggested, but no one made an effort to capture the courage to do so. Finally, they rolled to a stop amidst the decay of the town. Locals emerged from the shadows, faces twisted into unnaturally wide smiles. A chill settled in Sarah's stomach as they were invited into an old tavern, the kind that creaked and groaned like it was alive. The bread was warm, comfortingly familiar. Yet the laughter echoed off the dusty walls like a funeral dirge, creeping into their bones with a sinister hum. The tales of yesteryears danced around them, whispers of glory, but also of sinister disappearances buried beneath the soil. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the night stole away the last traces of light, they felt it, the weight of something else lurking beneath their skin. Jake whispered about voices coaxing him to listen, while Lily clutched a rag doll she had found, its smile grinning too wide, too knowing. Tension hung thick like a storm cloud, darkness creeping into their thoughts. Mike and Sarah's quiet arguments buzzed like angry wasps. A local eyed them with an unsettling intensity, his laughter trailing off in a horrible silence. And the moment when the shadows shifted, growing elongated and grotesque against the tavern walls, it became clear. Their idyllic family road trip spiraled into a nightmare they were trapped in. Beneath the veneer of hospitality was something ancient and vile. Was it the town's secrets, or were they living a horror they had unknowingly invited? The family stared into the shadows, realizing that this cursed path to nowhere was not just the road. They were ensnared in a web, where trust frayed and danger thrummed in every heartbeat. Each face around them wore a facade rosy enough to hide the decay lurking just beneath. Would they escape this time, or become just another tale, whispers in the wind that Whitestone Hollow would swallow whole? The bread sat like a lead weight in Sarah's stomach. She forced a smile at the locals, who continued to watch them with those unsettling, grinning expressions. The tavern, once a source of warmth and escape, had transformed into a claustrophobic chamber of dread. The laughter reverberated with a hollow ring, reminding her of a funeral service, one where the only attendees were spirits of the forsaken. As if sensing the family's unease, the tavern keeper approached, a wiry man with wild hair and sunken eyes. "You'd best not wander too far tonight," he warned, the smile still plastered on his face, but his voice low and gravelly. "The Hollow, she doesn't take kindly to strangers." The way he said "the Hollow" sent a chill skittering across Sarah's skin. Jake leaned in closer to his sister, his breath a shallow whisper. "They're all weird." He pointed discreetly to a couple seated at a nearby table, exchanging furtive glances. The man's fingers tapped a grotesque rhythm against the wood, seeming to beckon some unseen force. "Let's explore a bit before we head out." Mike's voice rang with forced bravado. The last flickers of twilight turned the tavern windows into glaring mirrors, reflecting a family clutching at the remnants of safety. They nodded, and after exchanging nervous glances, stood up in unison. Outside, the town gave off an eerie glow under the pale moonlight. The mist still clung to the air, wrapping around their ankles as they walked slowly. Sarah's heart thumped loudly in her chest, the silence interrupted only by their footsteps, echoing in the emptiness. "Look!" Lily exclaimed, pointing toward an ancient well in the center of a decaying square. Its stones were slick with moss, dark and slippery, almost pleading to be touched. "Can we see?" The child's innocence was a sweet balm on the sharp edges of their fear, but it also made it sting all the more. The adults hesitated, caught between curiosity and an inherent dread. "Maybe we should stick to the tavern," Mike suggested, but Sarah felt an undeniable pull towards the well, an inexplicable need to. "Look, I want to see, just for a second." They lined up next to the edge, staring down into the darkness. The void seemed endless, cold. Profound silence swallowed their whispers. Suddenly, Jake leaned a bit too far, heart racing as his fingers brushed the wet stone. A voice, soft yet echoing, drifted up from the darkness. "Join us, join us." Panic gripped Jake. He pulled back, eyes wide. "Did you hear that?" he shouted, his voice betraying the calm facade. The rest held their breath. It echoed again, a hypnotic chant that seemed to float along the gentlest breeze. "Join us." Lily clutched her doll tighter, eyes growing glassy as she began to sway in a trance. "Lily!" Sarah shouted, snapping her back to reality. The minutes stretched painfully as the girl shook her head rapidly, blinking as if waking from a dream. "Let's go, please," Jake's voice broke, pulling at his parents. "We need to leave." They stepped back from the well, adrenaline surging within. As they turned to leave, they felt it, a sudden chill clawing at their necks. Behind them, the townsfolk had gathered, shadows crowding closer, their grins wide against the darkness. It was as if they were being surveyed, transactions of fate playing out in the flickering light of torch flames. "Time to make new friends," the tavern keeper whispered, still smiling, but something darker lurked behind that smile, something ancient, something hungry. They backed away slowly, hearts pounding like drums in the face of impending doom. The air grew thick with a tension so taut Sarah felt as if she would snap. The night was far from over, and the well's whisper echoed ominously in her mind, a refrain that wouldn't let go. What had they stumbled into? Were they truly trapped here, or was there still a way out? The key lay hidden in the shadows, but now a sinister choice loomed. Maybe they weren't the only ones who needed to escape. A heavy silence enveloped the square, broken only by the soft rustling of mist slithering around their legs. The townsfolk loomed closer, a wall of shadowy figures merging with the darkness. Their eyes glinted like wet stones, each grin more sinister than the last. "Run!" Mike shouted, grabbing Lily's hand. Sarah plunged forward, her heart hammering in her chest like a wild animal trying to escape. Jake was at her heels, urging her on, as the chilling laughter echoed behind them, weaving through the air like a poisonous fog. They sprinted back toward the tavern, feet pounding against cobblestone, but it felt like they were moving in slow motion. The mist thickened. Visibility shrank, each breath a struggle. Sarah's lungs burned as terror clawed its way up her throat. The weight of unseen eyes pressed down on her, wrapping tighter around her like a serpent. "Where's the way in?" Jake shouted, voice rising in panic. The tavern loomed before them, a dilapidated structure that seemed to shift and sway under the moonlight. Was it always this close? The shadows flickered dangerously, as if mocking their desperation. Mike tried the door, but it wouldn't budge. "It's locked!" "Try again," Sarah urged, panic igniting the edges of her voice. As Mike threw his shoulder against the door, a jarring crack of laughter erupted from behind. They turned, fear electrifying the air between them. The townsfolk had almost converged, some stepping out of the mist like phantoms, their faces now horrifyingly distorted. "Let us in!" Lily cried, her small voice trembling. "Please, we need to get inside!" Jake echoed, eyes wide as they darted from one figure to the next. The townsfolk stood apart from the others, his grin stretching impossibly wide. "You can't hide here," he crooned, voice smooth but stained with malice. "The Hollow knows which of you wish to partake in the festivities." Sam's stomach turned. Festivities. The idea sent waves of nausea crashing over her. She shot a glance at her family, feeling the weight of unspoken dread in their eyes. A desperate idea welled up, and she tightened her grip on Jake's arm. "Walk towards the well," she urged, snapping her head back. There was a wild hope in her that if they distracted the crowd, maybe Mike could break through the door. Struggling against their own instincts, they began to plot a path back toward the ominous well, feeling every step as if stepping closer to the edge of a cliff. "Don't look back," she hissed, urging them forward. They moved slowly, slipping through the thickening mist, while the townsfolk whispered among themselves, incomprehensible voices blending into a haunting symphony. An eerie chant, "Join us, join us," seeped into Sarah's bones, threatening to pull her apart. Suddenly, just as they neared the well, the gathering parted, revealing a jagged figure, a woman drenched in shadows. Her eyes shone with a knowing light. "She beckons you," she spoke, her voice like glass breaking. "Do you dare to listen?" Before they could answer, the earth trembled beneath them. A deep rumble echoed, shaking the very ground. The well screeched loudly, stone grinding against stone, and Sarah felt the pull of a dark abyss. "Move!" Mike shouted, but it was too late. Tentacles of darkness coiled around Lily, pulling her towards the well. "Lily!" Sarah screamed, lunging forward, but shadows rippled, laughing, twisting around them. The echoes of the townsfolk grew deafening, wrapping around the family in an inescapable embrace. Desperation gripped Sarah as she saw her sister's doll tumbling from Lily's hands, falling into the gaping maw of the well. "Get back!" As she grasped onto Lily's arm, the world spun, the mist swirling violently, and Sarah sensed the reality around her shifting. They were trapped, not just in the town, but in something far more terrifying. Suddenly, the darkness roared back, sweeping over them like a tidal wave, choking out the light. "Join us!" The chant intensified, echoing with unnatural ferocity, and Sarah realized with horror that they all had a choice to make. But what price would they pay for their escape? What ancient pact awaited them at the Hollow's heart? The darkness writhed around them. Sarah's heart raced as she fought to hold on to Lily. The girl recoiled against the tendrils of shadow, her eyes wide and pleading, a mixture of terror and confusion painting her face. "Hold on!" Sarah shouted, pulling with all her might. but the shadows squeezed tighter, pulling Lily away. The whispers of the townsfolk escalated, becoming a cacophony of sinister laughter and haunting melodies. "Please, let her go!" Mike's voice shook, desperation lacing each word as he reached towards Lily, but it was useless. The crowd stood like a wall of smoke and malice, blocking any chance of escape. Suddenly, a chilling voice cut through the chaos. "You must choose swiftly." It was the woman from the gathering, her eyes flickering dangerously like dying embers. "You all can join her, or you may yet save her. What is your heart's desire?" Desire. The word gnawed at Sarah's insides. What did she truly want? To save Lily? To flee? Or to understand the horror surrounding them? "No!" Jake shouted, breaking from the throng briefly. "We won't abandon her!" He lunged forward, trying to pull Lily out of the darkness enveloping her. But it was like trying to grasp smoke. Her tiny form distorted, stretched impossibly thin. "Then join her." The woman's voice turned melodic, weaving through Sarah's mind like a dark symphony. The air became palpable, thick with the smell of damp earth, mingling with the burnt sweetness of fear. A sudden jolt shot through Sarah. She launched herself at the well, her breath hitching as terror forced her to confront the unseen depths within. "Lily, fight! You can do it!" I can't. Lily's voice trembled like a flickering flame. The shadows twisted and writhed, laughter ringing in Sarah's ears, drowning out everything but the echo of their own fear. "Join us," they chanted, each whisper a beckoning finger, pulling her thoughts into murky waters. "No, don't listen," Sarah screamed, but doubt crept in, a gnawing realization that perhaps there was no fighting the inevitable. The shadows shrieked in joy as new tendrils snaked around Sarah's ankles. She stumbled, feeling the damp earth pull at her with clammy fingers. She grabbed for anything that could shift the curse. Her fingers brushed against the worn stone of the well. "Help me!" Lily's tiny voice faded, swallowed by the wet darkness. A sudden thought struck Sarah, a desperate notion fueled by instinct. "I'll trade!" she shouted, voice ringing out against the mocking laughter. "I'll give you my freedom. Just let her go." Silence fell abruptly, the shadows recoiling momentarily as the townsfolk shifted uneasily. The woman stepped closer, her eyes bright with malice and interest. "What will you give? Your soul? Your will?" Sarah's faltered. "Whatever you want." A smile spread across the woman's face, as if she had been waiting for this moment. "Then come forth and truly become one of us." The darkness surged, moving toward her with an agonizing hunger. Sarah braced herself, the air humming with impending doom. "We can't let her do this!" Jake shouted, panic exploding within him. "Sarah, don't! Fight it!" But as Sarah's resolve weakened, shadows began engulfing her. Memories of laughter, warmth, and love felt distant, slipping through her fingers as if they were made of smoke. "Sarah!" Mike cried, reaching out in a desperate attempt to pull her back, but more tendrils slashed through the mist, severing their connection. The world around them dimmed further, the last flickers of light swallowed whole. Quiet laughter echoed, sending shivers down their spines, and Sarah felt the chill of despair wrapping around her heart. As she was pulled closer to the darkness, she heard the woman's voice ring clear through the roar of shadows. "Remember, child, once your heart's light is extinguished, you will never return." With one last burst of strength, Sarah yanked back, clawing against the shadows as her heart screamed for Lily. The world spun, reality bending like a shadow beneath the weight of fear. And then, it all went dark. Was there a way back? What had she done? In the silence that followed, the whispers rose again, promising secrets and nightmares. No choices left. Only a binding fate awaited. What price would she pay for redemption? Darkness enveloped her, swirling around like a living entity that pulsed with a sinister energy. Sarah's limbs felt heavy, weighed down by the pressing gloom and her growing despair. The echoes of her friends' voices faded into a dull thrum, like distant thunder rumbling in the storm clouds swirling within her mind. Where was Lily? Panic clawed at her throat. Had she made a terrible mistake? The price demanded by the shadows loomed over her like an executioner's axe. "Lily," she gasped, fighting against the growing disorientation. "I'll find you." The words barely escaped her lips, swallowed by the thick shadows. Frantically, she tried to remember the warmth of their shared moments, the laughter during sunny afternoons. But the memories felt like shards of ice, glimmering and yet just out of reach. A misty form began to materialize before her, a flickering shape, indistinct and wispy. It wasn't Lily, but another presence, staring at her with hollow eyes. There was something familiar, something painfully close. "You called, Sarah?" it whispered, voice dripping with a false sweetness. "Who are you?" Fear surged again as Sarah took a shaky step backward, realizing too late that it was futile to retreat from the tendrils sliding hungrily around her. "I am a reflection," the figure replied, the words mocking. "A mirror of your hidden desires." It coiled closer, tendrils weaving in and out of sight. "You want to save her, don't you?" "Of course," Sarah shouted, her voice ringing out fiercely, even as dread settled deep in her stomach. But the figure only smiled, a chilling grin that twisted its face into a grotesque. "Save her, or save yourself," it taunted. "What a tangled web we weave in desperation, dear Sarah." The shadow shape began to distort, twisting and reshaping into 1,000 faces, all of them staring, judging. Each person blurred at the edges, but their eyes were piercing and full of accusation. They were the townsfolk, the gathered crowd from the well, each one echoing her fears, her darkest memories. "Your failure weighs heavily on you," they whispered in unnerving harmony, "as does the choice you refuse to make." "No, it's not true!" Sarah shouted, clenching her fists as if to physically fend off the chilling words. "I won't succumb to this." The shimmering figures laughed, a chorus of eerie sound that rattled her resolve. "Then face the darkness," they taunted, and suddenly she was pulled down into a void, encased in an ice-cold embrace. Images flashed before her eyes, Lily trapped in the shadows, whispering desperately for help, but then morphing, growing older and darker until she was unrecognizable. "You abandoned me, Sarah," the voice cracked, distorted. "You chose your own freedom over mine. What kind of sister are you?" "Stop!" she screamed, feeling a heart-wrenching crack as bile rose in her throat. "Stop it!" She closed her eyes, twisting her mind towards a single thought, a focal point amidst the chaos. "I will save Lily. I will not be broken." In that moment of defiance, a light flickered in the void. It was dim but steady, drawing her in like a beacon. Her heart raced. Could it be the way back? Was there still hope? "Sarah!" a voice broke through the murkiness. The tone was unmistakable. It was Lily. The warm glow radiated with love, intertwining with the weight of shadows. "Find me." With newfound strength, Sarah grasped on to the fleeting light, determined to reach her sister before it was too late. The shadows shrieked in fury against her resolve, tendrils grasping at her but finding only the steel of her will. She fought against it, channeling every ounce of love, her heart lighting the way. Then a sudden burst of energy whipped around her, pulling her toward the void where Lily had vanished. "Your choice," the whispers echoed around her, menacing and demanding. "What do you want?" The darkness loomed again, threatening to swallow her whole. Yet Sarah knew, or thought she knew, that only one answer mattered. Before she could think rationally, she shouted, "I choose love. I choose to save her." The shadows recoiled, and the world shifted violently. Light flickered, and then darkness swallowed her whole once again. Would it be enough? What had she awakened within herself? As silence fell, a question echoed deeper than she dared to question. Had she truly understood the cost of love? And as she questioned reality around her, an impossible choice loomed ahead. The void throbbed around Sarah, a black sea of uncertainty. Shapes swirled, teasing her as they flickered at the corners of her vision. She was suspended between two worlds, one drenched in darkness and the other just a promise of light. And Lily's voice, her sister's voice, was the thread holding her together. "Sarah," it echoed, distant yet so close. "Help me, please." The urgency in Lily's call sent ripples of adrenaline shooting through Sarah. She could not lose her, not now, not ever. With a fierce determination, Sarah pushed against the darkness. She reached out, clawing through the blackness, feeling the icy tendrils enveloping her limbs. The light pulsed again, stronger this time. It beckoned her like a lighthouse guiding a lost ship to safe harbor. Taking a deep breath, she surged forward, breaking free of the chilling grasp that threatened to drown her resolve. Then, just as suddenly, the light dimmed. A sharp pain erupted in her chest, as if something had clawed at her heart. She stumbled, gasping, and the shadowy figures re-emerged, this time larger, angrier. They surrounded her like wolves closing in on their prey. "Do you think you can escape?" they hissed, their voices a cacophony of malice. "You're tethered to this dark fate." "No," she shouted, her voice trembling but defiant. "I will not give in." But the shadow figures shifted and merged, becoming a grotesque visage of Lily, twisted and writhing in agony. "Why did you leave me?" it moaned, the words dripping with sorrow. "Why didn't you save me, Sarah?" Tears burned in Sarah's eyes as she felt the guilt clawing at her. "I'm trying. I'm coming for you." The creature grinned, mouth stretching too wide, showcasing pointed teeth slick with darkness. "Oh, sweet sister, you'll never find her. You're bound by your own choices, by your very love." The words echoed like a dirge in her ears, slashing through her spirit. Dread seeped in, curling around her heart until it throbbed with despair. "What do you want?" she cried into the darkness, fury and desperation rising within her. "Sacrifice," the shadow hissed, the laughter twisting into a sinister melody. "You must decide, your sister's life or your own freedom." Lily's voice cut through the darkness again, faint and desperate. "Sarah, don't listen to them. Find me. I need you." Sarah's world tilted. The weight of the decision crashed down upon her, suffocating her in its enormity. "No," she yelled, "I won't betray her." As if the very fabric of the void responded to her defiance, the shadows recoiled, hissing in rage. The flickering light that had guided her flickered back to life, stronger than before. Hope surged within her again. "I choose her," she cried out, feeling the power in her voice. "I choose love. I'll do whatever it takes." The dark figure shrieked, the noise vibrating through the void as she ran toward the light. Tendrils lashed out, slapping against her skin, trying to draw her back into their cold embrace. But she fought them, pushing forward, summoning every ounce of will she had left. With each step, the light grew brighter, blinding her momentarily. But as it cleared, Sarah found herself standing on the other side, breathless and stunned. The landscape that spread out before her was cloaked in shadows, but she could see faint outlines of structures looming in the distance. The air was thick, laced with unease. Where was she? "Lily?" Sarah called out, voice trembling. Silence responded, a deafening emptiness that filled her with dread. The shadows coiled again, and the world around her began to shift, revealing a twisted version of their hometown. "Welcome back, Sarah." A voice slithered from the darkness, familiar yet unsettling. She turned, her heart racing. The figure before her resembled Lily, but was shrouded in a wispy darkness of its own. "Are you ready to make an even greater sacrifice?" Fear clenched her throat. What had she unleashed? And with a sickening twist in her gut, she wondered, was this the price of love? Or was there a deeper, darker truth waiting to be discovered? Sarah's breath quickened as she faced the shadowy figure before her. The resemblance to Lily was haunting, an echo of her sister wrapped in darkness. "You're not her," Sarah gasped, stepping back instinctively. "Where is my sister?" "Oh, Sarah," the figure cooed, its voice like honey laced with venom. "I am her, and I am not. I am all that remains." It reached out, fingers extending like twisted branches, wrapping around the very light she had fought so hard to grasp. "In this world, only shadows remain." A splintering chill gripped Sarah, running down her spine. She pushed against the growing fear, forcing her voice steady. "You're lying! I won't believe you!" "But the truth," the figure continued, tilting its head, "is far more complex. Love binds you, doesn't it? Terrible, beautiful love." The last word dripped from its lips like blood, crawling through the air toward her. Suddenly, the bleak landscape around them began to shift further, walls stretching like limbs, folding into grotesque shapes. The familiar suburbs warped into a distorted realm, where houses sagged like tired giants, and streetlights flickered with a dying breath. "Stop it!" Sarah shouted, shaking her head. The chaos made her dizzy, and she staggered, clutching her head. "No more! Just tell me how to find Lily!" The figure chuckled softly, almost affectionately. "You've come to a place where your desires clash with reality. Choices shape our fates. Now, what are you willing to give?" Sarah's heart dropped. An ancient weight pressed down on her, overwhelming. "I won't sacrifice anything!" "Really?" The figure swirled, the shadows forming and reshaping, creating grotesque visions of Sarah and Lily in happier times. "Then what of your own fears, your regrets? Are you willing to face them, cast them aside? Or would you rather cling to them, letting the darkness swallow you?" "No!" she broke down, tears streaming down her cheeks as memories pierced her heart. I can't lose her!" "Indeed," the figure hissed, feasting upon her despair. "But keep this in mind. Love can thrive alongside suffering. It's time to choose your pain." Sarah screamed, a torrent of anguish pouring out. She stumbled backward, overwhelmed by the shifting apparitions around her. Each image weaved into horror, taunting her with things she had buried deep. The day she called Lily annoying, when she hadn't been there to protect her from their vicious neighbor. The nights of loneliness that had clouded her judgment. Shadows circled, whispering, tightening their hold. "What do you want from me?" she gasped. "What can I give?" "Only your truth," the figure replied, its voice now a tempest, warping between horror and sweet seduction. "Unravel the fabric of your heart. Let it bleed. Only then can you find her." "No!" Desperation clawed at Sarah. "I won't accept this. You are not my sister." "Then you remain lost," it snarled, and the shape began to dissolve, blending with the thick shadows. "You will never find her without the cost of yourself. Let go of your love and forge your own path, or cling to your heart and lose everything." As the last remnants of the figure vanished, Sarah gasped, chest heaving. The world spun violently, the landscape shifting underfoot as reality warped, and the whispers merged into a dissonant symphony of the losses she faced. Panic rose like bile in her throat. Was it true? A world that demanded agony to return love? Images beckoned from the depths of her mind, lights flickering, doors slamming, the echo of Lily's laughter drowned out by sinister giggles. She had to find Lily, but at what price? "Lily!" she called, her voice breaking yet strong. Silence swallowed her words, but a faint echo rippled through her heart, a flicker of hope shadowed by fear. Would she face her darkest truths? Would she unravel the weave of her soul for love? The shadows awaited, whispering her name, wrapping her mind in silken dread. "Sarah," they called in unison, "what will you sacrifice?" The air thickened around her, and she understood. She was standing on the brink of revelation, teetering precariously between despair and salvation. And the journey to find Lily had only just begun. What darkness would she need to face next? Sarah blinked hard, her surroundings swirling like a storm. She fought against the dizziness, unwilling to succumb to the chaos. Until now, she had felt like a puppet upon strings, manipulated by the grotesque figure. But this time, she straightened her back, grounding herself against the trembling earth beneath her feet. She had to find clarity, to pierce through the darkness that enveloped her heart. "Lily!" she cried again, desperation lacing her voice. Each syllable hung heavy in the damp air, swallowed by the oppressive gloom that thickened around her. The shadows coiled tighter, drawing nearer as if awaiting her next move. Their whispering grew louder, more insistent, weaving a sinister lullaby of doubts and regrets. "What have you lost, Sarah? What will you bring back?" Frantically, Sarah shook her head, forcing her thoughts back into focus. She flicked her gaze around. Somehow, she had to find clarity. A way out of this hellish maze. Behind her, the twisted forms of the suburbs lingered like distant nightmares, each house a reminder of her fears. She had to approach the core of this madness. Perhaps it held the key to Lily. With a jolt of determination, she pushed forward, not certain where the path would lead. The corners around her warped like melting wax. Shadows danced on the periphery of her vision, taunting her step. The air crackled, filled with unsettling energy, shadowy figures mocking her resolve. A flicker caught her attention. A faint glimmer trailed through the gloom, a shaft of white light nearly blinding against the dark backdrop. Was it a mirage, an illusion crafted by her own trauma? But as she followed it, something deep within her stirred. It felt eerily familiar. "Lily!" The name exploded from her lips, a desperate prayer promising action. She stepped in the direction of the light, anticipation thrumming in her veins. But as she approached, the warm light twisted, reforming into a reflection, a mirror suspended in the void. At first, it reflected her, disheveled, lonely, trembling under the weight of grief. But as she leaned closer, the glass shimmered, and another figure emerged, a fragile image of Lily, smiling, illuminated by a brightness that seemed impossible in this dark realm. "Help me!" the apparition cried, her voice brittle yet full of emotion. You have to find me, Sarah. Break the shadows. You can do it. Lily! Hope surged through Sarah's chest, but a wave of panic swept over her. What do I need to do? I can't lose you again. Face your fears, Lily urged. Only then can we break free. The weight of those words sank deep into Sarah's core, igniting a new resolve. But what fears could she confront that would shatter this darkness? She'd buried them for so long. The shadows swirled closer, beckoning her with murky hands outstretched. Let the agony inside you spill forth. You must face what you have done, Sarah. Only then will you reclaim what you seek. Suddenly, Sarah was bombarded with a torrent of memories. The rifts of past mistakes haunted her, the times she had dismissed Lily's fears, the moments of jealousy when their connections frayed, the shame of unmet promises. Each recollection gnawed at her, a gnarly vine of treachery entwined around her heart. Do it, the dark whispers hissed. Let go, let it hurt. As the torrent crashed into her soul, Sarah trembled, teetering on the edge of an abyss. She felt sick, the sharp pang of guilt piercing her heart. Each anguish bared her skin raw. Could she face it? Could she allow such thoughts to engulf her? Tears streamed down her face, but the choice solidified within her. She took a deep breath, pulled her shoulders back, and began to cry out each regret. I'm sorry, I was wrong, I left you behind. But the shadows surged, boiling over with rage, threatening to swallow her whole. You cannot! The figure stepped into the dim light, and she recognized the face twisted in a cruel grin. You lost them all, didn't you? No, she screamed again, voice hoarse. I'm here for Lily. I will not let you take her too. The entity laughed, a sound that reverberated through the void, mocking her attempts. You're already too late. The shadows are hungry, and they want more. They want everything you cherish. Somewhere, she felt the warmth of the light she summoned fading, certainty wavering under the pressure of her own fears. Memories surged forth, each darker than the last. They became a cyclone, a vortex pulling her down into the depths of her own soul. Each visage formed a barrier she had to break, a fence to climb over to reach the other side. No more, she rasped, throat raw, pushing against the tide of memories. I refuse to let you take me. I will find her. Gritting her teeth, Sarah locked her gaze on the entity standing before her, forcing herself to channel every iota of strength she had left. Old wounds could not be allowed to overpower her. The sunken memories and malice of her past had no place here. She thought of Lily, of their laughter, their dreams, the bond that tethered them together even in this hell. With a roar, she lunged, arms outstretched, plunging into the shadows, the entity's laughter shrieking in her ears. You can't escape the truth, Sarah. You are lost. As she tumbled through the void, chains of her sorrow crumbling behind her, a blinding light erupted from deep within her, a beacon of defiance forging forward. Lily, I won't give in! But just as she seemed to break through the breadth of darkness, a feeling washed over her. A chill, a familiar dread she'd buried deep. What if her fight wasn't enough? What if, even in her struggle, she risked losing everything? The echoes danced cruelly around her, the shadows tightening once more. Pushing against their grip, she screamed, I'm coming, Lily! The abyss roared back, and behind the chaos, amid the echoes of trillions of lost dreams, a new voice emerged. Only one of you can make it out alive. Dread washed over her anew. With each heartbeat, she realized the truth was more twisted than she dared to imagine. Would she save Lily and doom herself? Or would she sacrifice everything to shatter the darkness that threatened to consume them both? The struggle rippled outward, and Sarah's heart slammed against her chest. Uncertainty loomed, a razor edge ready to slice through hope. The brighter her light burned, the darker the threats became. And in that moment, caught between light and shadow, Sarah faced the haunting question. What was she truly willing to sacrifice to save her sister? As the darkness swirled around Sarah, every heartbeat pulsed with urgency. The shadows sneered, tightening their grip as her mind raced. Could she truly face the weight of her own choices? Could she let
herself dive deep into the memories that chased her, haunted her? The vile whisper that echoed through the gloom, warning her that only one of them could escape, grated against her fierce resolve. "No," she shouted defiantly. "I won't choose. I will find a way to save both of us." Each word fought against the dark tendrils that wrapped around her. But behind her certainty, a chilling thought shadowed her heart. Did she even know how? Memories flashed. Everyone she'd lost. The times she had faltered. Every opportunity where she could have chosen differently. It was suffocating, a flood of guilt pressing down upon her like 1,000 lead weights. But through this chaos, a clear image of Lily glimmered like a beacon in the distance, a tiny spark of hope amid a tempest. "Lily!" she cried out again, voice rising above the howls of shadows, fueled by love and desperation. "I'm coming for you!" Before her, the dark figure twisted, cackling at her obstinance. "Your sister's fate lies in the balance, Sarah. You will lose everything if you choose to fight. You'll lose her." "No!" she shouted, feeling fury surge through her veins. "I can't lose her. I won't." And then, amidst the howling winds of despair, she felt it, the flicker of light inside her heart, steadily growing. It was a fire ignited by love. It shattered the darkness closing in from all sides, radiating illuminating warmth that pushed back the cold. The howls of the shadows transformed into cries of rage, unable to contain the power of Sarah's resolve. As she charged forward, the shadows recoiled, revealing the path ahead. She plunged deeper into the void, each step bringing sharper clarity. She could see the outline of the well in the swirling mist, an eerie silhouette inviting her toward familiar horrors. "Lily!" she called again, the name tearing from her throat like an urgent prayer. "Where are you? Guide me." In response, a whisper sailed through the air, soft yet filled with her sister's essence. "Follow the light, Sarah. I'm here. You're close." With renewed vigor, Sarah rushed toward the sound, each step echoing her fierce love, a love powerful enough to cut through the suffocating darkness. The landscape shifted, morphing around her, until she found herself standing at the edge of the well that had haunted their journey. "Lily!" she screamed, voice breaking beneath the weight of her longing. From the depths, shadows writhed, but glimmers of light danced amid the darkness. Sarah leaned over the edge, willing herself to see. What she found made her heart leap. A small hand reached through the shadows, fingers clawing desperately against the well's sides. "Help!" Lily cried, her voice breaking the spell of terror that had gripped Sarah's heart. With a raw scream of determination, Sarah reached down, grasping Lily's outstretched hand. The tendrils of darkness fought against their connection, trying to pull them apart, trying to drag them both into the unseen abyss. "No!" she roared, squeezing her sister's tiny fingers. "We're getting out together!" With every ounce of strength, they pulled, and the shadows hissed in fury. With another tug, Lily's body broke free from the well's cold grip, collapsing into Sarah's arms. The moment filled them both with warmth, love defeating the cold grasp of despair. But still, the darkness swirled around them, furious, vengeful. "What have you done?" the dark figure shrieked, the shadows thrashing wildly, closing in on them. "You think you can escape the curse?" At that moment, they faced the swirling void together, two spirits intertwined by a bond stronger than the darkness threatening to devour them. "Together!" Sarah declared fiercely, glancing at Lily with unwavering determination. "Together!" Lily echoed, her spirit igniting the air around them. Drawing on the love that burned brightly in her heart, Sarah released a burst of pure light, illuminating the space. The shadows recoiled, screaming in agony as the radiant energy surged, blasting through the darkness like a comet shattering night. With one final cry, the shadows dissolved into nothingness, sucked into the light that radiated from the siblings' connection. And then silence engulfed them, a soothing embrace that felt safe and warm. The well closed up like a wound healing, the town of Whitestone Hollow fading into the distance, lost forever. As they stood in the aftermath, hand in hand, Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had faced darkness together, and in doing so, illuminated the path to freedom. "Did we really defeat it?" Lily asked, looking up at her sister, eyes wide with reflection. "Yes," Sarah smiled, filled with warmth. "Together we can overcome anything." They turned away from the darkness that threatened to consume them and walked forward into the light, the warm embrace of freedom enveloping them. A new dawn lay ahead. In that moment, Sarah knew that love was far more powerful than any shadow, and that they would carry their bond forward into whatever awaited them next. Don't miss another moment of our journey. Now is the time to act. You need to subscribe immediately to stay tuned for more exclusive tales. Smash the like button now to help us feed the algorithm and keep sharing these stories with you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think lies ahead for Sarah and Lily? And finally, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience the thrill of this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to support our channel. You're part of this journey.